come to bevel this, you're not going to bevel it all the way down. The plane is going to have a little space there where there's no iron. But we're going to start on these end pieces because this is end grain. We're going to start there first. We want to make sure they are as even as we can get them. What I will probably do, I don't know if I will or not, but I'll take sandpaper or a sander and kind of round those corners as well. Just because it'll probably look better. Now we go along the long grain because any tear out we got from here, and I look at this, it's not an even bevel. So like that. Beautiful. And here, let's I figure it's easier to bevel these now as opposed to after. I got the sides on it, or the skirting. All right, it's time to cut the skirting to rough length that goes around the top. I'm going to use, this is a rip cut saw. It's a Nicholson, probably made in the 70s, I'm guessing. I shortened it because it doesn't have any history or value to it. And hope to put it in the toolbox underneath the lid. I'm not sure if it will or not. I want to try and see if I can just get by with a rip saw for this kind of work instead of a rip saw and a crosscut saw. But we will see. What I want to do first is put some wax on it, just to help it cut a bit smoother. And I'm going to come like an 1/8 of an inch from my line. I'm going to start very gently because I don't want the rip saw to rip this out. mean, I like my really nice vintage saws, but if I can get a couple of saws or just one panel saw out here to do this kind of work in that toolbox, then I think that's a win. Mosquitoes are trying to eat me alive, and that ain't bad. That's not a bad cut at all. It's not square, I'll have to square it off, but I mean, that ain't bad. So now I'll need to, once I rip it to size, I need to put, actually, I'm going to go ahead and put it on a shooting board and square it off. This is a factory end. I know that this end is square. I just want to take the roughness off of it. So what I want to do, that's pretty good right there. I want to kind of back the plane out. What I want to do is I want to tip this and take a little bit off this end, because so that I don't get a bunch of blowout. I want to take that down. And let's get back on track. Did you hear that? Did you hear when that saw hit that knot, the difference, the sound that a saw made? In woodworking, you use your ears as well as your eyes. And you'll get a lot of different clues that way about what's going on with the wood. It was a tiny, small little knife. But you heard that, I hope you did anyway. And what I'm doing is I'm just looking along that line that I marked on this wood. I know I probably didn't show that, but I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at where it's proud, and I'm trying to bring everything down close to an even depth as I possibly can. And then after that, we will try to bring it down to the thickness that I'm looking for. Keeping track of square. As long, I don't have the room. I could do like this and lay this finger under here and grab it here in the middle, but I would be scraping along that. But if I can put my thumb right there and keep that plane, just go slow and keep that plane centered on this board, I should be able to just keep it square, and if it doesn't, it'll go out just a little bit. So, and I will have time, if I pay careful attention to what I'm doing, to correct when I look at this board, there's like at the very tip of this, yeah, that's better. And what I'm doing, when I make the first pass, and I don't want to make any more passes, well, I can come to about right here, and then I'm going to have to lift up. But when I make that first pass, what I'm doing, I'm just holding the plane with this, and I've got my thumb holding pressure down there. As I come forward, I'm going to add, and then toward the end, as I come forward, I'm going to add a little bit of both to stabilize the plane once it is on this piece of wood. But when I get to the end, what I want to do is let off pressure here and keep all the pressure on the heel so the plane doesn't go like that. And I'm going to call that where I want it. Let me look at, yeah, what's that look like? Lovely. Okay, that's the shoulders for the pins. Now I'm going to use this side for the next, and this face for any and all markings that I make, so that if I stick with one face and one edge, it'll come out square. So that I don't have to worry about it. Perfectly square. Alright, this is the tails. So what we're going to do, I've got a little bit of a line marked here. It's marked on all of them. The reason for it is I want it to be proud of the top just a bit. And so that'll be inside face. I'm going to put it up a little bit in the vise to mark everything. And I'm going to take my T-bevel and I'm going to take that angle. You don't have to, but if I figure if I get something somewhere near that angle, it doesn't have to be exact. But if I get something, let's tighten it down just a hair. If I get something somewhere near the same angle that I used to cut those, it'll look better. I mean, most people might not even give a flying hoot, but for me, I'd rather. And I'm going to come in a 1/4 inch on either side because I like that. But actually, a lot of times the rule, there's an old rule that says half of the depth. So running out of light. This is 3/4, so I could come in 6/16. I think it is. I'm just going to go with 1/4 inch because I like 1/4 inch. So what I'm going to do is use a knife. a lot of times. It's really hard when you're working on such a small piece. It's hard to register the tool. All right. And what I'm going to do on the internal corner, or the internal side, this is internal, I'm going to take, because I have a knife wall there, I'm going to put it in this vise. Actually, yeah, that's right. Duh. Got to be careful not to mess up. Now I'm going to cut, if I can find my chisel, a little step there. What that'll do is help to register that on the pen board. And you can use your thumb to hold it there up against it to keep it from slipping into that knife wall. Alright, I have this resting on a set of what I think are 1/2-inch pieces of wood that run this way, so that I lift this off of the bench around a 1/2 inch, and I have a little bit of a reveal all along this edge. And what I'm going to do, now we're going to glue this up. When you look at a dovetail, what you should understand is that the strength of this joint It's in this long grain, the long grain glue up. It's not in these shoulders. So I'm going to do that. Then what I'm going to do, this is in grain. So this glue will not form a fantastic bond there. That's all right. I'll come back in with some finishing nails to kind of support that bond all along those sides. I won't do it up here in front because it's not, this is not in grain. So, very first thing we want to do put this joint together. It does not like going together, which is good. That's all right though, because it's going together. But once again, this end grain to end grain joint. That's what this is. It's an end grain to end grain joint. I'm sorry, a long grain, face grain, whatever you want to call it, not end grain. It's this long. It's the long grain joint. Come on, go on in there. I know you want to. All right, what I'm going to do now, and the thing with this, with this glue up, I'm gonna glue this up, and then what I'm gonna do is get it off of this bench so that I don't have to worry about it gluing itself to this bench. It's probably not that big of a deal. It's probably not going to happen. But if it did, it would suck hard, honestly. And so we're going to do what we can to avoid that starting out. And I had all of my clamps and everything ready to go. They're at the length that I want them to be so that it's really easy to do this right here. And then what I want to do, I want to pull I want to pull this edge, but the biggest thing I want to do is kind of pull these dovetails together tight. So I got that fairly close to those dovetails. Now I saw a guy set this on top of there and glue it like that, and I may be making a mistake by not doing it that way. We will see. It's not something I won't be able to figure out a solution to, but at any rate, What we're going to do now, that's glued up. We're going to take this off. We're going to look, and I think that if I set it here, and here, I don't think I'm going to have to worry about it gluing to my bench. And so now what I want to do is take a measurement from here, from the bottom of that. I just took the combination square and pretend that this is the bottom of the lid. I just pushed it up there until it mated with, it matched. Push this up against the bottom of that skirting that goes around the lid. And so now this is exactly the depth that we want. This to be now I have a line, and when I put the dust seal around it, I will bring it up to that line.